hands up, officers surrounded him with their pistols drawn. One of the first to approach was the boyish-looking LaPorte police detective Brett Airy. 5 years before, Jason had tangled with him over a charge of stealing metal from the foundry. Prosecutors would ultimately drop the case, undoubtedly an embarrassment Airy had not forgotten. It would be another officer who shouted, "We have a warrant for your arrest." "For what?" Jason asked. "For murder," he answered. "Then you have the wrong person," Jason replied. "Are you Jason Tibbs?" he asked. When Jason nodded, he said, "Then you're the one we want, for the murder of Rayna Rison." Jason Tibbs was not the first or the last man accused of homicide to claim the police had arrested the wrong person, but his response had particular resonance for the murder of Rayna Rison. Jason was the wrong person as far as several prosecuting attorneys and police detectives were concerned. In 1998, 5 years after Rayna Rison's death, the LaPorte County prosecuting attorney Cynthia Hedge indicted Rayna's brother-in-law, Ray McCarty, for her murder. That charge was no rush to judgment. Rather than take the indictment directly to the judge, as LaPorte County prosecutors did with most cases, Hedge impaneled a 6-member grand jury, interviewing more than 70 witnesses over a month, prime among them Rayna's friend, Jason Tibbs. But Hedge was defeated for re-election soon after the indictment. Her successor, Robert Beckman, dropped all charges against McCarty 8 months into his term. Among those outraged by Beckman's decision was Hedge's chief deputy prosecutor, Scott Dewering. "I have handled a lot of murder cases, death penalty cases, double, triple, and even a quadruple homicide," he told reporters at the time. "No case I have ever worked on was as extensively investigated as Rayna's case was. I worked on that case for over 3 years before presenting it to a grand jury that lasted 4 weeks. We employed some of the top forensic experts from the FBI laboratory in our investigation. The physical evidence we had linking Ray McCarty to the murder was substantial, and then the case was dropped by a prosecutor who never took the time to contact the investigators and experts who knew the case firsthand to get their side." Given the extensive nature of the McCarty investigation, it is remarkable that the LaPorte County Prosecuting Attorney's Office took 13 more years to charge another man who happened to be one of the key witnesses before the grand jury. Even more remarkable is the comparatively flimsy evidence the prosecutor used for his indictment. On its business development webpage, the city of LaPorte touts itself as Indiana's best-kept secret. Indeed, with a population of 20,000, it boasts attributes most larger municipalities would envy. A substantial industrial base bolsters a picturesque historic downtown. Factories and warehouses are arrayed along the state highways that radiate out of the city center. Chicago is only 2 hours away, and half that distance are the steel mills of Gary. Still, the city and the surrounding LaPorte County are a study in contrasts. Their names translate to the door in French because early 18th century settlers saw the area as the gateway to an untamed wilderness of rolling hills, forests, and lakes. A good part of that pastoral countryside remains, with plenty of places for fishing, hunting, and boating. But it is crisscrossed by freight train tracks and lies only a few miles from gritty factories or expansive farmed fields. In some rural outskirts, a sprinkling of mansions and Tony Horse ranches are interspersed with homes that are double-wide trailers or dilapidated shacks. To LaPorte County residents were hardly a secret in the state or beyond. Charles O. Finley parlayed his success as an insurance broker into owning professional sports franchises, most prominently the Oakland Athletics. Although he had luxurious apartments in Chicago and San Francisco, he proudly proclaimed LaPorte his hometown. Finley built a mansion alongside an 11-room colonial manor house and several barns, some of which the flamboyant executive converted to giant party rooms. When his teams played in Chicago, he proudly trooped the athletes to his ranch, showing them off to the locals like thoroughbred racehorses. But in the late 80s, the Finley spread would be dwarfed by the LaPorte holdings of a new age magnate, Oprah Winfrey. With 160 acres in the county's northeast corner, she had a 9,700 square foot mansion, an 8-bedroom guest house, caretaker homes, a 10-stall horse barn, indoor and outdoor riding rings, a swimming pool, tennis courts, and an orchard.